What if I told you that some of the richest people in the world actually owe way more money than most of us will ever see in our lifetime? Sounds pretty wild, right? But it's true. Most of us are told to stay away from debt because it's bad. But rich people use it in a smart way to grow their wealth even more. The secret isn't that they're careless with money, it's that they know something most people don't. There are actually two types of debt. One type makes you struggle, the other type helps you get richer. In this video, I'm going to explain how rich people use debt to their advantage. You'll see the strategies they follow, the mistakes people often make, and how you can start thinking about debt differently. This isn't about borrowing more money for no reason. It's about learning how to use it wisely. So stick with me, and by the end, you'll have a whole new way of thinking about money and debt. Let's start with two people. Sarah is a teacher and makes $60,000 a year. She has $20,000 in credit card debt from shopping, vacations, and eating out. She just pays the minimum each month, and the debt never seems to go away. Now there's Mike. He owns a small real estate business and has $2 million in debt. Wait, $2 million? How is that possible? But here's the thing, Mike is actually rich, while Sarah is struggling to pay her bills. So what's going on? The secret is knowing the difference between good debt and bad debt. Sarah's debt is bad debt. She borrowed money to buy stuff that loses value over time. Those clothes aren't worth much anymore. The vacations are over and the food is gone. This type of debt makes it harder to save because you're paying extra money on things that don't help you grow. Mike's debt is totally different. He used that $2 million to buy rental properties that earn money every month. The rent covers the loans and even gives him extra cash. Plus, the value of the properties keeps going up. So instead of hurting him, debt is helping him build wealth. That's the first important thing. You should think of debt as a tool. It's not automatically bad. A hammer can build a house or break a window. It depends on how you use it. Debt is the same way. Strategy 1: leverage. The first way rich people use debt is called leverage. Let's say you have $100,000. You could buy a small rental property and make $10,000 if it grows by 10%. That's a decent return. But a rich person would use that $100,000 as a down payment on a much bigger property worth $500,000. They borrow the rest from the bank. If it grows by 10%, they make $50,000. That's way better. By using other people's money, they can make much bigger profits. Strategy 2: arbitrage. The second strategy is arbitrage, borrowing money at a low rate and investing it where it earns more. For example, they might borrow money at 4% interest, but invest it where they make 8%. The difference is all profit. Sure, it sounds risky, but they know how to handle it and often have access to better deals. Strategy 3: tax benefits. The third strategy is using debt to save on taxes. When you borrow money to invest, the government lets you subtract the interest you pay from your taxes. For example, if you pay $10,000 in interest and are in the 30% tax bracket, you could save $3,000 in taxes. So borrowing can actually cost you less when done right. Strategy 4: infinite banking. The fourth strategy is infinite banking. This means borrowing money against your own assets instead of going through a bank. For instance, you could take a loan using your life insurance or investments as collateral. That way, you get the money you need without selling your investments. Real-life example. Here's a story. A billionaire real estate investor started with almost nothing. In his early 20s, he bought his first apartment using all his savings and borrowing the rest. The rent covered his loan, and he even made some extra money. As the property's value increased, he refinanced the loan to get more money and bought more properties. He kept repeating this process, and now he owns billions of dollars in real estate. The key? He always made sure the property could pay for itself. Why banks lend money? You might be wondering, Why do banks give money to people like Mike? It's because banks want to make money from interest, and they lend only when they think it's safe. Real estate and businesses are great because they hold value and bring in income. That's why mortgages have low rates. But things like shopping trips and vacations can't be resold, so credit cards charge super high interest rates. Managing risk. Rich people don't just borrow money without thinking. They research before investing, keep backup cash, buy insurance, and diversify their investments. Most importantly, they never borrow more than they can handle. If something goes wrong, they have a plan to cover it. That's why they succeed where others fail. Another example. Let's say an entrepreneur wants to open new stores and needs $500,000. Instead of using her savings, she takes a business loan. That way, she keeps her emergency funds safe. The new stores make enough money to pay off the loan in just a few years. Because she structured the loan smartly, she even saved money on taxes and avoided extra fees. Once the business grew, she paid off the loan and kept the profits. Common mistakes. Now let's talk about what people often get wrong when they try to copy rich investors. Mistake number 1, buying stuff that doesn't make money. A car loses value the moment you drive it. It's not an investment unless you use it to earn money. Mistake number 2, not having enough cash to cover costs. Taxes, maintenance, and empty spaces can quickly drain your income if you're not prepared. Mistake number 3, borrowing at high interest rates. Rich people get better deals. If you borrow at super high rates, it's harder to turn a profit. Mistake number 4, not knowing how taxes work. Debt can save you money, but only if you understand the rules and keep good records. Mistake number 5, taking too much risk. Rich people can afford bigger risks because they have safety nets. If you're new, start small. How you can start. So how can you begin? Step 1, get your money in order. Pay off expensive debts like credit cards first. Build an emergency fund with at least 6 months of expenses. Improve your credit score for better loans. Step 2, learn about investments. Understand how real estate, stocks, and businesses work. Start small and gain experience. Step 3, connect with experts. Find an accountant, talk to real estate agents, and join communities where you can learn from others. Step 4, start small and grow. Buy a duplex, live in one side, and rent the other. This lowers your expenses and helps you learn. Wealth isn't built overnight. It's about making smart choices and being patient. So, the biggest difference between rich people and everyone else isn't that they avoid debt. It's that they know how to use it wisely. They borrow money to invest in assets that make income and go up in value. They plan carefully, use tax benefits, and always have backup plans. This doesn't mean you should borrow for everything. It means you should change how you think about money and debt. If you learned something today, give this video a thumbs up and drop your questions in the comments. Have you ever used debt to invest or start something new? Share your story. It could help someone else. And if you want more tips on building wealth and thinking like the pros, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore more ways to use smart money moves to build your future.